All right, it's been a while. Welcome to today's yin yoga practice. I'm theming this on unraveling tension, and we'll be using the bolster quite a bit through the practice as well. Grab a blanket if you can. Of course, a bolster, a thicker, heavier bolster, or a cushion off your couch will do as well. And 2 yoga blocks. If you don't have those, maybe 2 heavy-sized, even-sized textbooks will also make do for your props. Let's go ahead and begin by getting ourselves ready for practice. We're going to use the blanket for behind our head, so we're going to be nice and comfortable. And I'm going to roll the end of the blanket here so it creates a little bit of cushioning through the base of my skull. Position all your props so you're ready to go for this practice. So I have the bolster on my right side. Let's go ahead and start by laying down just to center in. Take that blanket roll right at the base of your skull. Get as comfortable as you can, roll it up. And begin to allow your spine to offload, laying down onto the earth, palms facing up to receive energy. Take a slow, deep in-breath through your nose. And a slow, deep out-breath in your mouth. Letting go of the day, letting go of the week, whatever day you're on. This practice is for you. Start to cultivate an intention for your practice. Again, today's theme is all about unraveling tension in your body. Once you're ready, gently draw your knees in toward your chest and rock yourself from side to side. Notice how your low back feels, your hips. And when you're ready, slowly bring your feet all the way down towards the earth. And we're going to roll towards the side. So I have the bolster ready to go on my right side. I'm going to move my body a little bit to the left side of my mat so I can roll into my right hip and then drape my left leg over the bolster. Our first pose is our Supine Twist. Now, as you're here, just get as comfortable as you can. So you can adjust the bolster to your liking. I'm going to adjust the bolster here for my leg, so it's going to be a little bit more comfortable for my support so my leg is not dangling. And I'm going to wiggle around a little bit so that my head is comfortable and my left shoulder can drop easily onto the earth. Now the bolster is helping me kind of counterbalance my left shoulder to rest down towards the earth. If your left shoulder doesn't feel comfortable that way, just simply place your left hand on your rib cage. Remember that not one size fits all, and every body is different. Now, in our yin practice today, because we're specifically emphasizing working our yin tissues, remember we're not looking for too little, or alternatively, we're not looking to be very ambitious, not too much. But somewhere in the middle, you're just right. Once you've found you're just right, then begin to allow yourself to really drop in, feeling the bolster support you as you're here, and feeling this nice twist in the body along your torso. You might as well feel this through that top leg, the outer lateral portion of your leg, as well as the left side of your waist and the front of your left shoulder. Allow yourself to breathe. Feel the breath in through your nose. Feel the breath exit out through your nose. We're here for a few more cycles of breath. And a quick note for today's practice, we will be working through one side specifically first, and then we'll be targeting the other side. So there will be a linking of a few poses on one side, and then we'll switch to the other. When you're ready, slowly roll towards your side. Today, I won't be taking a lot of rebounds, so feel free to press pause in the video and rest in rebounds for about 60 seconds or longer. But as you're ready, we're shifting into our next pose, which is our prone twist. Alternatively, you can take our twisted deer pose. I'm using the blocks underneath my bolster to create a nice ramp so that I can lay my body on top of the bolster. Right hip is going to be at the end of the bolster, and you're slowly going to allow yourself to come on top of the bolster. If you turn your head away from the direction of your knees, the pose will be deeper. As you can see here, there is more of a twist when I turn my head away from my legs. Now, if this is too much, turn your head back to the direction of your screen or direction of your knees, your legs. But allow yourself just to notice, once again, letting go of any ambition, letting go of any over-efforting. But specifically as well, just kind of noticing if you need to maybe adjust yourself in a way where it feels a little bit more healing for you. So in this variation, I've decided to split the legs into almost a pixie wheel shape, in which we call twisted deer. And I've decided to lower my ramp, my bolster, and I'm taking the full torsion or twist in my twisted deer. In this pose, my intention is to unravel tension into the target area of the left side of your low back. For some of us, you might also feel the left side of your hip. And of course, we're getting a nice twisting of the spine to help imbibe those discs in our spine. Again, choosing what's appropriate for your body at this moment in time. Take a slow, deep in breath through your nose. And a slow, deep out breath in your nose. Really allowing yourself to delve in to this shape. And again, if you're noticing any unconscious efforting, allow yourself to let that dissolve using your out breath. Take a few more cycles of breath here. When you're ready, taking your time, press your hands into the earth and slowly start to come on up. As you come on up, just notice how you start to unravel some of that tension in your body, turning towards the back end of your mat. Let's go ahead and windshield wiper those legs from side to side, releasing any stagnant energy that may have gotten stuck in our legs around the hips as well. And I want you to notice the difference between each side of your body. You might notice a big shift, or you might notice a very subtle shift. From here, we're heading to our next pose, which is our traditional deer pose. I'm going to use a bolster. You don't have to. It's optional. And I'm placing my right shin bone parallel to the bolster. Notice my legs are a pixie wheel shape. And from here, I'm going to use extra padding. So I'm grabbing the blanket for underneath my left knee, my left shin, because I am on this cement back here in my backyard. Once you're ready, go ahead and allow that right hip to become heavy and slowly allow yourself to come down to your own appropriate edge. Not too little, not too much, but just right. Now, optional, if you would like to release tension through your upper body, thread your left arm underneath your right arm, or you can create a bow tie shape with those arms. Notice I've threaded the right arm on top of the left arm to create this bow tie in the arms. That way I start to release tension, unravel tension through the upper back and the shoulders. Again, it is optional. It's up to you. You can also lean off to the side if that's better for you. Choose what works best for your body at this very moment in time. Once you've found the shape that's sustainable for you, the tissues in your body, go ahead and allow yourself to just settle in and just breathe. We're in about the midway mark here, and I've decided in my own body I'm looking for just a little bit more, and so I'm straightening out the left leg to create a little bit more opening through my right hip. This pose is called Swan Pose with the upper body in bow tie. Now, again, this is completely optional. This pose is not for everybody. In fact, if you do want to take this pose and it feels tweaky for your knee, it doesn't feel quite right, my recommendation is taking figure 4 on your back. I haven't shown that here, but do take that variation if that resonates with you at this very moment in time. And just breathe. Again, the idea here is to unravel tension from the tissues. Taking a few more cycles of breath there. Start to take your time to come out of the pose. Again, I'm not going to take too long and rebound. Feel free to press pause and just rest and rebound and just notice the body. I'm setting up for the next pose, and this one's symmetrical before we head to the other side. And I'm padding up my knees with a blanket and have the bolster in front of me. Do a few cat-cows first before we head into the next yin posture, which is our melting heart pose, Anahastasana. Now, everybody is different in terms of range of motion through the shoulders. So if there is anything going on with one shoulder, feel free to just do one arm Anahastasana. Otherwise, go ahead and slowly start to shift your hands or your elbows onto the bolster. So the hips are going to stay high. I was just pointing to that. So it's not child's pose. Feel free to take child's pose if that does resonate with you better. Otherwise, the idea here is to unravel tension through the upper body, through the side body as well. So I'm getting into the triceps here, shoulders, the lats as well. And I'm allowing my spine to head into a little bit of this extension. So for me, and this feels good with the bolster. But again, this is not one size fits all. Another variation, if you prefer and give it a try, you might like it. You might want to stick that bolster underneath your chest instead. You might need the block underneath your forehead for support, or you might not. Just experiment. Yin is all about curiosity and seeing what your body needs, right? So we want to fully support your body so that you can really emphasize the work in the yin tissues. So here I'm demonstrating it with a bolster underneath my chest and my forehead down towards the earth. Now, I don't like this variation in my body. It's a little bit constrictive for me. So I'm going to go ahead and shift back to where I was prior to this when I started with my elbows on the bolster. Feel free as well. The thumbs don't need to head down to the nape of the neck or the base of your neck like I'm showing here. You can also release your hands instead forward and just let your hands just drape onto the earth as you're here. So again, choose a variation that works best for your body. Take a slow deep in breath and a slow deep out breath. And here's a variation with the arms just draping over the bolster. Allow your jaw to soften and notice if there's any extra energy that's leaking out of your practice that you don't need to leak out. Like a lot of times we expend extra energy that we don't need to, whether it's clenching your jaw or tightening up through your shoulders. So really take your time here, notice them, and let that go. As you're ready, we're going to slowly come out of our Anahastasana pose. Just take a moment here to pause. Again, feel free to press pause on the video. Take a few more cycles of breath. And then when you're ready, you can press play again and join us. So we're going to repeat this sequence on the other side. And you can just simply stay in the same direction. For the purpose of filming this on the camera, I've decided to turn towards the other side of my mat so that you can see where my leg is at and how the pose is situated in the body. So once again, we're coming into our one-legged supine twist. And I'm setting up here with my blanket once again and the bolster to support my right leg. When you're ready, slowly take your time. Again, adjust your bolster as you need to. Take your time to wiggle your left shoulder towards the left side and slowly roll your right arm open. Again, if this is too much for you, place something underneath your right elbow or just simply place your right hand on your right side rib cage. Choosing the direction of where your head, your face is facing is also a way to get in deeper. So as you're here, just notice All right, does it feel better to turn your head towards the right or towards the left? And once you're there, just feel the tissues of that top leg, the lateral portion of your right leg, and in towards the right side of your waist and the front of your right shoulder. Take another deep in-breath and a slow deep out-breath. Let's take a few more cycles of breath here on the right side of our waist, our right outer hip, maybe around that glute med and glute min. And when you're ready, very slowly start to come out of the pose. Once again, feel free to stay for rebounds. But from here, we're heading into our prone twist. So once again, grab all your props that you need for the next pose. Take your bolster, create that ramp that like we did earlier, and it's going to be on the front of your left hip. Again, wiggle around, and as you're ready, slowly lengthen through your spine, turn your torso towards the bolster and slowly lay yourself down. Again, choosing if you need a little bit more, turning your head away from the direction of your legs, maybe walking your right hand a little bit further out, away from the hip. So choosing what works best for you as you're here. Feel the right side of your low back. And for me here, I'm going to head back to my twisted deer variation. I prefer that better at this moment in time than my prone twist. So notice how I split my legs into that kind of that pixie wheel shape. And I'm going to slowly come back down. Now, as I twist, I notice as I breathe, there's an exchange of different pressures, right? So as I breathe in, I feel the breath kind of press from inside out the tissues in my body. And as I breathe out, I feel the emptying, the letting go, and unraveling of tension. And I feel that kind of the tissues respond in the most favorable way with this exchange of pressure as I breathe in and as I breathe out. So notice that in your practice as well. For me, there's so much potential in feeling the potency when I come out slowly out of the pose. So take your time now to slowly press yourself up and unwind. Taking those windshield wiper of those legs from side to side and really feeling the energy, that shift inwards. Again, feel free to press pause because there's so much potential in that. And then come back and join in, press play. And when you're ready, we're heading to our traditional deer pose. Once again, grab your blanket. You might need that for underneath that back leg, your right leg. Left shin bone parallel-ish towards the front end of your mat or your bolster, landing that left sitting bone down towards the earth. And then slowly, as you're here, coming down and resting onto your bolster. Now, once again, I'm going to introduce the bow tie or half bow tie. I like to call this twisted branches. The arms to me represent branches. So the right arm is going to go underneath and the left arm on top. Now, if you need a little bit more height, just notice what I've created here with the bolster and with the blocks. Then slowly start to come all the way down, finding your appropriate edge, feeling the upper trapezius, feeling the left hip, feeling that tension slowly starting to unravel. Once again, we're at the halfway mark. So just like I did on side number 1, I'm going to do this on side number 2. Again, completely optional. You can also take figure 4 on your back. Here, I'm going to shift the shape of my legs into Swan Pose so I can generate a little bit more sensation in my body and my left hip. Slowly coming back down with my bow tie or half bow tie arms and settling in once again. Back toe can be tucked or untucked. Again, see if you can allow that right hip, the front of your right hip, to soften here as we target the left side of the glute. And for some of us, the upper body, the shoulders. Breathe in and feel the breath arrive. Breathe out, feel the breath depart, and feel that tension unravel. Really take your time when you're ready to slowly come out of the pose. Notice the difference that you're feeling in both sides of your body. When you're ready, we're heading to our next pose. So take your time to set up. Grab your bolster and your blocks. And once again, I'm setting up a ramp for myself. We're heading into saddle pose. Now this pose is not for everybody. There is a deep knee flexion in this pose, and I'll give you an option. For now, I'm setting this up for those who are taking saddle with me. Take that blanket underneath your feet. So that's going to be for your shin bones and your ankles. And then slowly start to face away from the bolster like I'm doing here. And then slowly have a seat. You might need an extra block here between your feet. You can sit on a block here. I'm sitting on the bolster and I'm going to slowly lay on down. The target here is, of course, the quadriceps, your thigh muscles, as well as the front of the hips. So take your time to slowly come down into the bolster. And as you come on down, you also want to make sure your head is supported. So I need to scooch down a little bit so that I have that support for my head. And again, this pose is not for everybody. If it is, just stay here and just breathe. Well, once again, if this pose doesn't work for you, then you're going to take instead supine butterfly pose. And draw your feet together, sole to sole, and then slowly lean back. Let your knees fall out wide. I love this variation to target the inner thighs. And once you've found what works best for you right now, in this moment in time, go ahead and stay there and close the window shades of your eyes and just begin to breathe. Now I'm heading back to saddle pose. This is the pose my body is seeking, so I'm going to stay here. Let's take a few more cycles of deep breaths here. Just feeling the front of your thighs and hips open, for some of us the inner thighs, if we're in supine butterfly pose. And when you're ready, use the strength of your upper body to slowly start to come all the way up. And take your time here as well. So unravel the legs, maybe allow them to straighten out for a bit and pause there. But for now, I'm setting up for Shavasana, and I'm creating this beautiful Stonehenge for my legs. This is a pose that I learned from my teacher, Tian Allen, when I did her restorative therapy teacher training up in Vancouver, BC. She's phenomenal. But anyways, go ahead and let your legs drape over your Stonehenge, and then allow yourself to come on down onto that blanket roll and just get really comfortable resting here in Shavasana. As always, my recommendation is to stay in Shavasana for at least 5 minutes for yourself, for self-care. But this is where I leave you. when you do come out, please do come out slowly, really taking your time. But again, this is where I leave you. And I want to send my gratitude to all of you for subscribing to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I'm going to try to post more videos here on YouTube. But thank you all for joining me for this session of Unraveling Tension. My name is Lisa Jang, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.